Hey guys, I'm back again and I'm going to show you some Toffees and Toffinos today. But before I do that, I want to get into a real quick thing about creating the proper environment for ball pythons in a reptile room. You see that I've got the floors wetted down here. I've mentioned this in videos in the past, but just kind of wanted to go through it again. I wet the floors down here. Floors are made out of concrete. We don't have radiant heat in the floors in this room, but in other rooms we do, which helps with evaporation. But by wetting the floors down, and we do that several times a day, usually once when we first get in and then again later when we're getting ready to leave, it causes evaporation in here and keeps the humidity in the air nice and warm, or nice and humid. I live in Wisconsin, and it is fairly humid here in the summer. Spring, summer, and fall, I can usually keep this room humid really well without adding any moisture to the room. But in winter, it is really dry here. We have to use a lot of forced air heat. It brings a lot of dry air into the building. So I wet the floors down in order to combat that a little bit. Another thing that I do is I use this substrate is called Pro Coco. There's another substrate out there very similar to it called Reptile. Both of those I recommend for ball pythons, or really any type of coconut chip. If you squeeze it, look at that, a little bit of moisture comes out. It's really easy. You just basically take the whole, it comes in a solid brick. You just take the brick, dunk it in water for about 30 seconds, and then we put it in a nice clean garbage can like this, and then it just expands. And then we scoop in here and use it as needed. So we use that with all of our Freedom Breeder racks. We have 25% ventilation on our Freedom Breeders. If it was always as dry as it is here in winter, I'd probably go with 100% or 0% ventilation, because it would hold more moisture in the tub itself. But I go 25% because that's going to keep a lot of the moisture in there, but it will eventually evaporate. Just because in summertime the humidity in this room can sometimes get up to 80 to 90%, which is pretty unbearable to work in, believe it or not. But it is what it is, and the ball pythons like it. Typically, it's about 60 to 70% humidity in here. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of explain why I have the floors wet and how we how we give the snakes the proper humidity. For temperatures in here, we have the thermostat set for about 80 degrees. In the wintertime, it'll dip down to about 75 at night as the low, and get it back up to close to 80 during the day. In summertime, it can get up to 86 or 87 in here sometimes, but that's only when it's like 90 or above outside. So it never really gets super, super hot in here. In summertime, the normal temperature is probably about 82 to 83 in here during the day, and it drops down to about 80 at night. So just about right for ball pythons. So anyway, that's what I just wanted to explain that about how I provide the right environment. Because keeping ball pythons, other than diet, environment is the number one thing. And you got to make sure the humidity's right, temperature's right. They need access to that hot spot in the back of these racks. They need to be able to get cooled off too. You just have to make sure that the snakes are in the correct environment and where they're going to be comfortable and happy. And if comfortable and happy and well-fed ball pythons are going to be a good breeding ball python. So that's my main goal here. So anyway, as I said before, I want to go through the Toffee and Toffino ball pythons. Toffee is a gene that's allelic to albino, which means that if you breed them together, it combines to act like a super, and you get the Toffino. And I'm going to show examples of all of these in just a minute. I was one of the first people to prove that the Toffee and albino was allelic. I think it was in 2011 or 2012. I think 2012. I bred a het Toffee male to a couple of het albino females, and I was able to produce 2 albino-looking snakes, which, as they grew, turned lavender and ended up being Toffinos. You can actually look back years ago on my videos, and you can actually find that video on there. So just to refresh your memories, as if you need refreshing on albinos, but this is a typical albino. Now, obviously not an adult. She's maybe just a little bit over a year old. Okay, here is a Toffino that's about the same size. So these snakes actually started looking, when they hatched, look basically identical. And then as they grew, the Toffino started to develop the lavender coloration in her. So if you breed an albino to a Toffee, you can get Toffinos. And it works out. Actually, let me show you a Toffee too. Here is one of my adult breeder male Toffees. So they get much darker purples in them, and the yellow is a little bit different colored. But so that bred to that will give you all these. And if you breed a Toffino to an albino, you'll get half Toffinos and half albinos. If you breed a Toffino to a Toffee, you'll get half Toffees and half Toffinos. Hope everybody got that. Might have to rewind and go through that again. So it's really fascinating because they all have fairly different looks to them, and they're all pretty cool. I was really happy with how the Toffino, I'd never seen one in person before I hatched my first ones out, and I was really happy with how they turned out. I've seen pictures of them, but they didn't look nearly as good in pictures as they do in person, at least the first couple that were ever photographed. Okay, so now I'm going to show, let's get these guys put away here. Okay. These two are juveniles. This is a Toffino. You can see a little bit of lavender coloration coming in on her. This is a Toffee. This isn't actually a great example of a Toffee. I have another one here that's a little bit better, but of course he's deep in a shed right now, so I'm not going to show him. But so these all hatch out looking like albinos. Even the pure Toffees look pretty much like an albino. And so when you hatch out a clutch that could have all of them in, because you could have all three, albino, Toffino, and Toffino, all in the same clutch if you bred two Toffinos to each other. So you have to basically put them on the shelf and grow them up for a couple of months, and the Toffees will start changing to lavender very, very quickly. Usually after the first shed, you can already see some lavender coming in, and they'll change very, very quickly. The Toffino will change, but the change is much more gradual, and they never get as dark as the pure Toffee. The Toffee is the darkest purple. The Toffino gets a little bit more lavender, and of course the albino is white. So this one's just a bit darker than that one. Like I said, normally at this stage they're even a bit darker yet. And the one that I have here right now is deep in a shed, so I'm not even going to bother to show him because you won't really be able to appreciate the additional darker purple coloration that one has with the stage of shed that he's in. Okay, so now I'm going to show a couple of combos. Here is a juvenile Toffino N Chi. So you can see some lavenders coming in. They actually get a lot of oranges in them as they grow too. I've got an adult one of these, a large adult one of these I'm going to show in just a couple minutes. But these are definitely different than a normal albino N Chi. The albino N Chi doesn't get any of the lavenders in here. It typically gets like a darker yellow in the pattern. And then this one that I have, this is a super N Chi Toffino. You can see it's got a bit of a reduced pattern compared to the normal N Chi Toffino, and a little bit more intense colors too. Okay, I have some other combos. I don't have much for Toffee combos to show. Actually, I believe that's it. I haven't really been producing pure Toffees for very long, so I'm working on a lot of different projects with them, like Toffee pies and Toffino pies, Toffee clowns, Toffino clowns. I'm working on a lot of different projects, but I just haven't been able to achieve a lot of them yet. But I do have some other Toffino combos to show you here. This is a Toffino pinstripe. The thing I like about this is it really lets you see the pinstriping pattern on it. This one's about a year old. I believe she's actually for sale on my website right now too. And then this is a black pastel Toffino pinstripe. At least I believe that's what it is. It's quite a bit darker and higher contrasted than the regular one. I can get them to cooperate here so you can see them a little bit better. Yeah, I think the black pastel is what's giving it an even darker contrast and just darker coloration altogether. Really, really cool snake though. This one's actually a male. Okay, a couple more really nice ones to show you here. Some of my favorites coming up. I like this one a lot. This is a Toffino Mojave. Look at the colors on her. That's a holdback that I'm growing up for breeding right now. I've actually got 3 or 4 of those. I think I have 5 of those. I'm a bit of a ball python hoarder. I probably don't need 5 of them, but I have 5, so I'll breed them to something and make some really cool stuff with this. I just love the coloration, like all those yellows in there, and I don't know, just a really different color scheme than most Toffino combos. Okay, I'm gonna put her away. I've got another really cool one to show you. This lid. This one is one of my big breeder Toffino N Chis. Which she's a little bit younger. The lavenders were a little bit more intense than this, but still a really pretty snake overall. I think she hatched in 2014. She's given me a couple of clutches already. So that's an adult female Toffino N Chi. Okay, let me see if I can get her back in the bag, and then I've got one more, probably my favorite. So far, there's a lot to do with Toffees and Toffinos yet. And actually, I do have some other Toffee, or not Toffee, but Toffino combos, but they're really small. I actually showed a couple in videos last summer 2018, or maybe it was fall. I've got Toffino leopard Mojaves, and at the time I probably didn't know for sure if they were Toffinos because they were hatchlings, they just hatched. So I'll show those once I get a chance to grow them up a little bit more and the Toffino coloration comes in. This one here is probably my favorite that I've produced so far. I have several of these, including a breeder male. This is a 2017 female. This is a Toffino Black Pastel. Black Pastel just mixes with anything with albino or toffee or Toffino, you know, banana, any of the morphs that have lavenders in them or whites in them. I mean, that's the darkest lavender that I've ever seen on a Toffino. And it's because of the black pastel influence. Come on, come back here. Oh. Bet that gave you a scare. She's a little testy today. Look at these colors in through here. Blushing in there, just amazing. I love these. I don't think I can produce enough of these. Nice little alien heads here. Okay, so that is it for Toffees and Toffinos right now. I'll be doing updates on a lot of these morphs in the future as I produce new and better ones. But I'm trying to show as many pictures or show as many videos of older animals instead of just always hatchlings, because this thing didn't look anything like this when it was a hatchling. So I don't think it can really truly be appreciated until it gets up to at least this size. So anyway, I'll try to do more videos of like a lot of my 2018 holdbacks. Got a lot of amazing stuff. You go back and look at my hatchling videos from last year. I hatched out a lot of really cool kind of cutting edge stuff. And of course I held on to a lot of that because I'm a snake hoarder. So I'll be showing a lot of that stuff as it gets bigger too. Okay, so if you are interested in purchasing a Toffee or Toffino or anything like that, definitely check out my website, royalconstrictordesigns.com. I've got all kinds of stuff on there. And I will see some of you at the Cold Blooded Expo in Minneapolis, Minnesota this weekend, March 10th. And then I will see a lot of you at the NARBC in Tinley Park the following weekend. So hope to see you there. Stop by, say hi, and enjoy your ball pythons, and I will enjoy mine, and talk to you soon.